𝗲𝗂 continues to rise steadily. In this video, we're going to jump down into the charts and take a look at the technical analysis of the one coin. As we get into this, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and you'll be kept up to date with all of the video content that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗀𝗀. In the description down below, you will find a link to our Discord server. We post a lot more content down there in terms of our general everyday thoughts on various different projects, answer questions when you do mention us, and of course we also drop down additional technical analysis as well. If you want to be the first to know what is going on, check out the Discord server down below. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, let's actually jump on down to the desktop, take a look at what is going on here with 𝗲𝗂, and see what's going to happen next potentially. Okay guys, so we're going to start with just kind of getting that big highlighted overview of 𝗲𝗂 so far, right? So this is the weekly chart, really good outlook here. We can obviously see that we have seen very significant gains from the beginning of the bull run. This was back in March of 2020. Anyone who's been familiar with the channel will know that we've been talking about 𝗲𝗂 for quite some time, and you know, I guess it's one of those projects where you either love it or hate it. Maybe you sell early, but obviously it's on a bit of a run. Well, it's been on a pretty good run pretty much for this entire bull run. There's been a couple of pullbacks as expected with wave 2 and wave 4. We've had that deviation down here, you know, in November. We've got pulled back. The entire crypto market got pulled back. And now we're making really good progress to the upside. This is actually looking very, very comfortable for pretty good targets to come in. We do actually have those kind of scoped out. We have the first kind of target that we're looking at about 35 cent or so. This actually comes in a little bit above the 702 around here, about 35 cent. Actually, it is a 702 pretty much on the Fibonacci retracement tool. So obviously taking the all-time high, that pullback that we had from the all-time high, and this shows us out with those fibs and where potentially we're heading. Now overall, we do have a trend-based fib here on the entire bull run as a whole so far, as in the low areas of wave 2, the high areas of wave 3, the low areas of wave 4. Those are what indicate 96.5 cent. But with this recent progress, you could argue that this has a lot more potential in the tank. The recent pullback from our wave A to wave B has a 4.236 extension of $1.57. So again, you know, some interesting kind of stuff to go on there. Now for the C wave, we are expecting this to kind of come up nicely up towards that kind of 47 cent range, but I do expect this to turn impulsive, and that will be triggered at 59.3 cent. Okay, so we are watching out for that move to the upside, and if there are no significant downtrends to be met. Now the stochastic RSI on our weekly is gaining momentum. This is actually the first one to kind of go to this degree. There are a few others that are performing quite well, but you can see Bitcoin's already or all the way down here, right, at absolute zero or close to zero on the stochastic RSI, specifically on the weekly. And what you can see here is the kind of level of progress that 𝗲𝗲's had, just moving moderately out of that oversold area on the weekly chart. So progressing really, really nicely here for 𝗲𝗂 so far on its weekly chart. So again, I do expect things like Bitcoin and the others to kind of bring that reversal and start to see some pretty interesting moves to the upside. But again, you know, the weekly and the daily charts are indicating such a thing, as it was indicated here with 𝗲𝗂 when it was in this oversold area. Likewise, it was oversold in this low area here of wave 4. So good gains have been made. Obviously, the last time it was down in this range, we did set an all-time high. Right now, we're down in that range, pushing back up. We are looking for all-time highs again, and as we steadily rise the price of 𝗲𝗲 up. Now, obviously, we have seen the ETH and one pair go live on Binance. We know that there is a Bitcoin bridge going to work as well. So hopefully that's going to come to fruition soon. And as a result of that, it wouldn't be long, in my opinion, before we start to see, you know, even a Bitcoin one pair as well, maybe a few others, and we're going to start to see a few interesting things happen here with 𝗲𝗂 as they push forward with their bridges, obviously interoperability being key, and of course DAOs, and moving really positively forward with DAOs as well. Overall, the 𝗲𝗂 ecosystem is growing massively, and we're starting to see more and more adoption, and this is obviously evident as well with the sheer level of transactions going on with 𝗲𝗂. And also, you know, the data storage capacities. Well, obviously, we're validators for 𝗲𝗂 as well. So we do understand that you know, Shard1 is becoming quite an increasingly bigger and bigger database. It's growing massively, in fact, to the point where you're constantly having to upgrade and increase storage capacities, right? So 𝗲𝗂 is growing really, really well, and it continues to see some pretty good stuff fundamentally. Now, as we come down into our daily chart, here we can obviously see what's going on. We had this impulsive move. We have that set out at 35.8 cent. We can see that we had a pullback here. Now, this is impulsive because of our third wave. Now, this pullback takes us back lower than the wave 3 high. So I am inclined to say that actually we had that impulsive move set here, and wave 5 actually was a little bit lower. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and see whether or not this is actually aligns to anything, specifically the 618. There you go, just wicked above that 618. If I pull that down into this lower range here, it would be the 1.382. Okay, and I'll just pull that across here. You can see we come up exactly to the 1.382. So again, we know that that's a good area, but I was expecting a tiny bit more out of that move, specifically 35.8. And then nonetheless, we are seeing this correction right now, but we are performing incredibly well and holding up under the pressure, right? Is holding very, very well. Here we can see that we had that pullback with an A wave, a B wave, and we are still waiting for a C wave to come in. So we are looking to come back down a little ways. So I am going to just pull this in. So we are looking for corrective action in Harmony, at least on this daily chart. So we'll have to look at the hourly in a moment. But what I'm seeing here is a pullback here with an A wave. We're looking for a B wave here, and then we'll look to pull back down into a C wave. Now, what I'll do is I'll grab hold of that fib. We'll move it over to the height of our B wave here. And you can see that actually it's very, very minor kind of correction, and it could be just a wick that comes down towards 25.3. Overall, cent-wise, that's, pretty much standard with where we were a couple of days ago. It could just be a wick, and then we should be back to good progress. Now, that's kind of the likelihood, in my opinion, of where that's likely to go. But again, anything can happen in crypto. So we'll have a look at the hourly and see if that's also aligned. We can see that we're lowering our stochastic here on our daily chart. So we are lowering out of the overbought area. We can bounce back up here, and we can be up here for a period of time. You can see how quickly we can wipe out that stochastic RSI, and obviously continue that growth afterwards. So I'm looking pretty good there. So let's just jump down into our hourly chart and take a look at what's going on here. So we had the ABC here, we have the ABC up, we have the larger move to the downside. Now, this larger move to the downside has been invalidated as an impulsive move, okay? And this actually, if we actually grab that, is an A, a B, and then that huge pullback here as an overextended C wave, right? And arguably you would say that that's a fifth wave we pull up with a fourth wave, but then straight away we've actually already climbed up significantly here, invalidating in that move there. So again, not a problem. We were looking to basically see that kind of come down, but that actually continued the growth to the upside overall. Okay, so as we take a look at this, there's a clear couple of things that we should acknowledge. One, that this here is basically a full short here. Okay, so we actually end up with a big move to the upside here with a pullback and then a bigger move. Now, this actually is a bigger A, B, and C in itself. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to measure this down to this point, and then we just want to transpose that over. So we can see how that one plays out. We'll just make sure that I get that onto the nose there for the B wave. And we can see here that we came right up to the 1-to-1 ratio. We wicked a little bit higher, but nothing too impressive. We didn't go impulsive to the upside, then we started to pull back. And here we are looking for that correction. So we can see there's a nice A wave kind of coming in, and we can argue that that's a high point here with an A. Actually, no, that would be there. I will leave it there. Then we have this pullback, right? So we are looking for a small pullback in line with our stochastic RSI here. So we have our A wave, a B wave, and a C wave still to come. Again, this then aligns to what we're talking about in terms of our daily. Nothing too impressive at this point, but I do expect some volatility with Harmony 1 on the shorter time frames. But again, the weekly is looking very, very good. So again, we would be looking at a reversal at some point to find. So we're finding good support actually down here, by the way, on 30.5 cent. So that's actually working really well. So that's a good bouncing point for us. I'm going to quickly just remove that fib there, and we'll throw on another fib, and we'll put that on that A wave, and we can see that our bounce usually comes up to a decent area, which would be that 618. So I'm going to pop it here about 31.9, and then we'll go ahead and transpose this down for our C wave completion, coming in at about 29.6, so a little bit higher than maybe that support level. So that's actually looking like a pretty good play, and it can happen pretty quickly as we look to lower this stochastic RSI and raise it up again and pull it back into this range. That will complete the wave counts and then potentially, start something back up to the upside. Now, obviously, Harmony 1 is really, really notorious for these kind of moves, right? These triangles. And every time we've seen a triangle, we've had this kind of explosive move to the upside, right? And we can actually take a look at the previous all-time high we set with this triangle. We broke up to that 38-cent zone. So what we want to do is we want to see whether or not this is actually something that starts forming out. Now we've had this completion of our 1 through 5. This actually usually tends to lead to a bigger kind of ABC correction, right? And I'm going to just tidy up some of these moves so we can actually just analyze that for a moment here. Okay, so as we approach some key levels, it's important that we acknowledge that there's this upper level of resistance, the previous high of this a big 5 wave or 5th wave. And this actually should tend to lead to a bigger move to the downside, usually an ABC. But what we can see is here is actually we're almost moving sideways, right? This could be the formation or the start of a formation of a triangle. Okay, so what I want to kind of do is actually just draw these on and see whether or not this is something that that potentially does actually play out, right? So I want to kind of just pull these in for a moment and see how this plays out, because if we end up with another triangle, this could be another huge move for Harmony 1. Okay, so we have a slightly descending here. We are looking for pullback, and this potentially might bring us into a range that we're more comfortable with. Now, we might have to move this around a little bit. Generally speaking, we need 2 touch points on each trend line. Okay, and we obviously can acknowledge that we have a pullback here. So here's your A wave. This potentially is your B wave. We look for a C, we'll look for a D, then we look for an E. Okay, so that's the kind of pattern that we're looking for here. So if we do actually end up with a slightly deeper correction down to form a C wave, we might find ourselves just bouncing around these key areas a little bit before we actually get that big break again to the upside, triggering another impulsive move, right? So some interesting things are going to be happening here for Harmony, and specifically as we find this volatility with Bitcoin, and we find some instability with the crypto space on the shorter time frames. But we are looking for a small pullback. Again, the reason that I said I might have to move this is we need 2 touch points, as I said. And Harmony 1 might be some really shallow corrections. We might have a C wave touch point and an E wave touch point, meaning that the volatility is actually contained within this triangular wedge or Elliott wave triangle, and then it seriously gets that explosive move to the upside. Again, this would be in line with this kind of level of trend around consolidation on that kind of pullback. So the A wave being slightly lower is fine, as long as we have 2 touch points, which would mean that C and E would have to touch the trend line. And likewise, this one here seems to be pretty stable, was a bit of a cap. So I'm going to leave that there and see if this one does play out. If it does, that's going to be absolutely massive for Harmony 1, where potentially, as I said, we see another impulsive break to the upside, again taking out some of these really key areas for us with Harmony 1. So I'm going to take that off for now. We'll see if the triangle plays out. If it does, as it has done previously, we could potentially end up with another big break for Harmony 1 continuing to the upside overall. But so far, Harmony 1 has been bucking the trend. It's been performing incredibly well in light of everything that's been going on with Bitcoin, and therefore we should celebrate just that. Guys, if you have found this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.